catch up. Since we are waiting for a bit of people, we are going to start with one of our blocks. So if you have a wall or a window space, you're going to go ahead over to the wall or the window space, and you're going to plant the block on the floor, and you want to have it on its lowest setting, super wide. And then let's all face the same direction. So step your right foot on the block and just let your left foot dangle off the block. And you'll just take a few breaths here. And first, you're just going to let the leg hang still, and you've got that support next to you. Yeah. And then you might start to go a little forward and back with the dangling leg, swinging it. And that wall or countertop is there to help you in case if you have balance. And you're just going to do gentle swings. Try not to muscle it. So relax your leg, Barbara, just a little bit more.
Okay. Try not to.
So trying to keep the hips even, and you are just trying to loosen up the leg and the joint. And then make sure you're breathing. And then very gently, you'll come to stillness. Go ahead and step off the block and just notice the difference between the sides of both feet planted. And then if you notice something, you'll go ahead and turn around and face the other side. And if you also haven't found something, you're still going to turn around and face the other side. And now you're going to put your left foot on the block and just be still for a moment. Hi, Laura, stepping on that left block, really letting the right leg dangle. So you don't have to engage the foot at all. You're just kind of letting it draw up and letting gravity help. And then after a few breath cycles there, you'll start to gently swing that leg forward and back. Forward and back, forward and back. And you got the wall there to support you or the countertop to support you. Now really relax the leg, Barbara. So there you go. And then you'll relax that and then step off the block. Notice both feet. If you feel a little bit more even. Fantastic. And then let's go ahead and pick up our block, go back to our space, and you're going to lie down on your back with your heads towards me, both blocks out towards the upper part of your mat, blanket off to the side. And we'll just take a few breaths here. So you might find that you want your knees bent, you might find that you want your legs long, but you're just going to take a few breaths to lie here. And so something I've been thinking about this week, I've started a Shakespearean acting class. And one of the things that we're working on is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And basically all this means is that we really want to take our time to smooth things out instead of noticing where we find discomfort or uncertainty and skip over it. We want to just gently work through it and notice how that allows us to smooth out our movement, smooth out our knowledge. And then from there, we can begin to get faster and then eventually, see things actually integrate. So let's go ahead and come to a bit of more active breath. So I want you to inhale consciously and exhale consciously. And you'll just take 3 big breaths, really allowing the breath to fill the body, the abdomen, the torso. And really noticing how you can start to smooth out the breath. So by taking this slow, steady breath in, you can start to smooth out the bumps and the jumps in the breath. And then as the breath becomes smoother, it becomes more efficient. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue to breathe on your own, smooth, steady breaths. Bend both knees and plant the feet firmly on the floor if they're not. Go ahead and draw your right leg in towards your chest. And again, still staying with that smooth, slow breath. You might gently rock the thigh and the hip socket. You might create little circles, but again, you're trying to make it smooth. So that might mean that you do need to move a little bit slower so that you can find those points where the thigh bone maybe just wants to skip over some part of your range of motion. And after you've gone one way, go ahead and pause and go the other way. And you're really just giving yourself permission to feel how the body wants to move. Bless you. Remembering that a lot of our movement is a use it or lose it type of thing. So we're trying to keep using it. And then we'll go ahead and come to stillness. Interlace your hands at the back of your right thigh. And then inhale, start to kick your foot up towards the sky. Good morning, Robin. And then exhale, bend the knee, hug the knee into the chest. And you'll do about 4 more of those. So inhaling, reaching the foot up, pressing through the ball of the foot and the heel, knee up. And then exhaling, bending the knee in, hugging the thigh to the chest. You got 3 more on your own, just breathing and moving with the breath as in type. Nice job. And last one. Awesome sauce. The next time, you're going to go ahead and reach that right foot up towards the sky. You're going to pause there. Really kick the right thigh into the hands. Pull the hands into the thigh. Take a moment to see if now you can release the arms out to the right and to the left and keep that leg there. And then you're going to take a big breath in here and a big breath out, engaging the core. Inhale, start to reach the foot forward and down towards the floor. So the right leg is long, reaching forward and down all the way to the floor. Fantastic. And then when you exhale, engage the belly and draw the right leg back up to vertical. And you're going to take this a few times on your own, just working with your breath. You might notice that as you re-lift that right leg, it kind of helps stabilize the core by pressing the sole of the left foot into the floor. It engages your tuchus and it also engages the core. So you're just going to do that a few times and notice what that feels like, moving slow and smooth and steady. Awesome sauce. The next time that right leg is back up, you're going to pause there for a brief moment. Go ahead and bend the right knee, cross the right ankle over the top of the left thigh, thread your hands through the holes of your legs and draw your legs towards your chest. You'll press that right ankle into the sole, or rather the left thigh. And some of you will stay right here. Some of you will try pointing and flexing that right foot. So that's the leg that's closest to you. And notice what that feels like. Some of you will keep the right leg with the right foot flexed and just rock a little bit right to left, and you'll notice what that feels like. But again, we're trying to find smoothness in the movement. So there's a little part where the body feels like it doesn't want to go. You'll just take a moment to pause and breathe, and then you'll notice that the muscles will start to open and release around that. Fantastic. Everyone, let's go ahead and come to stillness. Gently release the legs. Bring the left foot to the floor, bring the right foot to the floor. Take a moment to pause and notice what you notice between the sides. And then as we're ready, you'll exhale and draw your left knee into your chest, same as before. Take a little hip circle or thigh, just moving around right to left, but you're just noticing what it feels like. And there will be parts where your hip may not want to go. Our chronic sitting does make certain muscle groups get a little bit more tight and others a little less active. So if you notice that there are parts where the hip just doesn't feel as open or loose as you'd like, no worries. You just take a moment, you pause and breathe there, and the body will open up. And if you went one direction, please go ahead and switch the other way. And again, are you breathing? Are you noticing what that is like for you in this moment? And then let's go ahead and come to a neutral still position. Bring both hands behind the back of your left thigh. And then inhale, kick the foot up towards the sky. And exhale, draw the knee in towards the chest, heel towards the pelvis. And you'll do this 4 more times on your own. Really paying attention to the breath. Inhale to straighten the leg. Exhale to hug the knee in towards the chest. And you might notice the kneecap engages as you straighten the leg. You might notice that if you can really flare your feet, your toes at the top, you can find the stretch of the transverse arch of the foot, which feels really nice to me these days. Fantastic. After you've done 5 times, you'll go ahead and keep that leg up there. Take a moment to pause. Really flex into that left foot. And then from here, we're going to gently open the arms out into a T shape. Inhale here. Exhale, engage the belly. And then on your next inhale, reach that leg forward and down to the floor. Slow as possible. And then you'll exhale, press through the right foot, lift the leg back up. You've got about 4 more of those on your own. And you're just noticing what it feels like to go through your range of motion. Range of motion. And it really does help for me, at least in terms of engaging the core, to really press into that right foot as I lift the left leg up. It really just integrates the pelvis as well as the low abdominals. All right, let's do one more set. The next time that left leg is up, you'll go ahead and pause here. Bend the left knee, cross the left ankle over the top of the right thigh. Draw your thighs towards your chest as you interlace your hands through the whole of your legs, maybe grabbing back of thigh, front of shin. So figure 4 on our backs. There we go. And you might stay right here, flexing into that left ankle, pressing it into the right thigh. You might point and flex that left foot. You might rock and roll a little right to left, but you're just trying to stay with the breath. You're trying to find where you can be smooth and still with your movement. We've got about 2 more breath cycles here, so maybe you try the other thing if you haven't already. Awesome. And then let's go ahead and come to stillness. If you're in movement, gently release the legs, draw the feet to the floor, open the arms out until they're in a T shape and separate the feet about outer hip distance apart. Take a big breath in, and on your next exhale, let both legs fall to the right. And then you'll inhale and come back up through center, and exhale, go to the left. And you'll do this about 4 times. And you're just paying attention to how the 2 thigh bones work separately in the hip. And you're paying attention to how you're breathing. How can you smooth out this movement so it's not a ka-junk or clump or ka-plunk as the legs go one way, but it feels like it's just a natural progression. And after you've done 4 sets going right and left, you'll go back to the right and you'll pause there for a couple breath cycles. And the interesting thing I find about all of this moving slow, or rather smooth, slow is smooth and smooth is fast, is because I think that often many of us think, or at least for me, that if we go faster, we can catch up. Like if we're behind in any way, that if we just go a little bit faster, we can catch up. But sometimes we really do need to slow down, smooth things out, and then it gives us the capacity as well as the skills and energy to go a little bit faster. All right, on your next in-breath, go ahead and come back up through center. And then you'll exhale and go over to the left. And the only reason I think that is because, then we have the resources and they're more efficient. And you'll just take a few breath cycles here, noticing what happened to the breath. Can you still be connected to that? Noticing where you can smooth it out, where you can deepen it. Nice work. Next in breath, let's go ahead and come back up through center. As you exhale, go ahead and extend your legs long beneath you. Reach your arms up and over your head, and you might wiggle and yawn in any way that feels good to you there. You might interlace the fingers and stretch the heels of the hands away from you just to lengthen out the side body, maybe reaching one foot away from you and then the other, but just find a little bit more length. Fantastic. And then once you feel complete on that, you're going to flip over onto your abdomen. So those with your feet to the camera, you're probably going to have to flip all the way over. Do like some swimmer's somersault or something. The rest of you that are with the head facing to the camera, you just have to flip over, yeah. And then from here, let's go ahead and bring our hands back and alongside our hips. Now we're going to just take a moment to pause here. We're going to do some back strengthening stuff. So some of you will keep your hands alongside your hips, palms facing down. Some of you will bring your hands on your sacrum, on your back. It's whatever feels best for you. But you're going to go ahead and inhale and reach your right leg so far up and back, it lifts away. And then you'll exhale and lower it down. And then you'll do that on the left side, inhaling, lifting the left leg. Then exhale, lowering it down. And we're going to do that 10 times. And so you're working very slowly and smoothly. And since we're going to be here for 10 times, some of you might start to lift your head and shoulders up and away from the floor. Yeah. Some of you will Just stay there, pressing your pubic bone down into the mat as you lift one leg and then the other. And some of you will be happy as a clam, just keeping your head a little lifted from the floor. Some of you will start to reach your arms up and away from the floor, really pressing your pubic bone down to keep your low back. Yeah, happy. Fantastic. And I hope you're breathing. So you inhale as you lift your leg and exhale as you lower. And some of you will be happy to stay there. Some of you will inhale and lift your arms out to the right and to the left. And so every time you reach forward, or rather lift your leg, when your right leg lifts, your left arm will come forward. And then you exhale and the arms come back to center. And then you inhale, lift your left leg and your right arm goes forward. And then you exhale and the arms come back to center. I wasn't counting, so we'll do about 5 more. So we're just breathing. Yeah, and we're strengthening our backs. And we're seeing how this is going. And again, we're trying to move slow so we can make it smooth. And then once it's smooth, it'll be fast. Awesome sauce. We've got about 1 more set. Awesome. And then after your next set, go ahead and keep your head lifted, your legs lifted, reach your arms back. Yep, so now we're in locust. You might turn your palms to face each other, really press your pubic bone down, reach your toes back, lift your chest up. And we'll breathe for 3. We'll hug the shoulder blades together for 2. We'll draw our chin slightly towards our throat for 1. On your next exhale, bring your hands underneath your armpit area. And then you'll start to press yourself up to a little cobra that'll morph into a hands and knees position. Fantastic. Now, once you find yourself in hands and knees, I want you to just take some cats and cows here, or any other organic movement that feels good to you. But you're just going to take a moment to notice what that feels like as we strengthened the back. And now you're going to let yourself explore what that feels like to you. Moving very consciously and deliberately and making sure you can hear and sense your own breath. Nice work. And then let's go ahead and find ourselves in a neutral position. Make sure actually walk your knees together, ankles and shins together, curl all 10 toes under and start to press your bum back towards your heels. Start to walk your pelvis up. And then make sure you've tucked your pinky toes underneath you. Fantastic. Now, once we're seated here, we've got options. Option number 1 is to open both arms out like a bird. Turn your right thumb to the floor, right palm faces back, and swim your arm behind you. Then option number 1 is to just see if you can grab towards that right arm, and then you might drop your left ear over towards the left. And you're trying to find a stretch happening on the right side of the neck as you draw. Some of you will bring your head to vertical and you choose whatever's going to work for you, but you're just paying attention and you're breathing. Awesome stuff. So we've got about 3 more breaths here. Noticing how the body is start to slowly open. And then very gently, you're going to release your arms back out into that T shape and we'll switch sides. So now left thumb dials down, left palm faces back. Bring the hand back behind you and reach around and grab towards your left elbow. And ideally, as much as you can, you're really trying to see, if you're doing this, how close you can get your hand towards your neck. And some of you will stay there and drop your right ear to the right. Some of you might take the second variation of doing Gomukhasana arms. But you're just pausing and you're noticing. How does it feel for you to really slow down? Sometimes I feel like slowing down is a pleasurable thing, and sometimes it's not so much. And so you're just noticing what you're noticing here. Got your last 2 breath cycles here. And then as you're ready, we're going to gently inhale, arms open out. Exhale, hands come down to the floor, pitter patter your toes on the floor, having a happy little temper tantrum. And yeah, we were there for a really long time. And so you just notice what you notice. After your little temper tantrum, you might shift your weight back and lift one end or both knees up and away from the floor. Fantastic. And then when you are complete with that, we're going to come to hands and knees. Some of you might put a blanket underneath your shin bones if your knees are sensitive. And that's a pretty blanket, Laura. It's like a Chanel or something, or what's that fabric called? Chenille, yes. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and hands underneath our knees. Because we've already done this, our back should be pretty okay. Let's go ahead and extend our left leg back. Toes touch the floor. Hug all the muscles around the bone, and then lift your left leg parallel-ish to the floor. From here, you're going to go ahead and reach your right arm forward, palm faces in, and we're going to pause. And you're going to imagine you're still trying to square your hips as much to the floor as possible, like we did when we were on our bellies. You're hugging that outer right hip back, letting your pubic bone reach forward. And then are we breathing? Are we breathing? Yeah, good job. Got 2 more breath cycles here. Calm, steady, smooth breaths. At the end of your next exhalation, just lower down the right hand and lower down the left knee. Take a cat and a cow if you'd like, really just finding breath and movement once again. And then we'll go ahead and find a neutral spine once more, and then we'll try the other side. So go ahead and extend the right leg back. Engage all the muscles around the right leg, and then lift the right leg parallel-ish to the floor. Inner right thigh lifts faster than outer right hip. And then start to lift your left arm forward, palm faces in. And so it really helps if you really try to spread your toes wide, yeah, and reach back through that whole foot, yeah, because then it engages your pelvis, which then allows your core, yeah, good job, to be a lot more steady. Fantastic. And you got 2 more breath cycles here. And you're just noticing what you notice. The end of your next exhalation, go ahead and lower the left hand, lower the right knee. Curl both sets of toes under. Inhale and gaze forward, and exhale, make your way back to a downward facing dog with bent knees. And with super bent knees, you're going to take a moment here to notice how the feet are doing. So you might slowly straighten one of those legs. And then you might slowly straighten the other one of those legs, but you're just noticing what the hamstrings and the calves feel like. You're noticing what the feet feel like. You're noticing what the shoulders feel like, but you're just giving yourself permission to be here in this moment, moving slowly and smoothly through the body with the breath. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and come to a neutral spot. Take a big breath in and take a big breath out. Nice job, guys. Inhale here. As you exhale, draw your right knee to your nose. And then exhale, step that foot between your hands. At this point, go ahead and walk your hands to your blocks. And still just staying with our pulsing, breathing movements. You'll inhale and heart and sternum will reach forward. Exhale, start to straighten your front leg long, bow your chest towards your shin. And you've got 3 more just like that. And you're just breathing. You're paying attention to how this feels in the back of the right leg, what you notice in the front of your left hip. For these last 2 sets, you might start to peel the sole of your right foot up and away from the floor as you straighten your right leg. Should be our last one. This last time we straighten our right leg, we're going to go ahead and stay there. Pull all 5 toes of that right leg up. Some of you will probably want to walk your blocks back so they're underneath your shoulders. Fantastic. And then if the sole of your right foot is away from the floor and you're resting on your heel, you might start to spin your whole right leg to the right. And hello, hamstrings. I don't know why I said hamstrings, but that's hilarious. But you might stay there for a few breath cycles. You might come back to a neutral, but you've got 3 more breath cycles in this shape. And you're just noticing how we're starting to slow down the breath so that we can smooth out the breath, so that we can deepen the release in the muscles of the leg. Fantastic. Next in-breath, let's go ahead and come to neutral. As you exhale, shift your weight forward, plant the foot, plant the palms, and step yourself back to a plank pose. Take a moment to pause here. Take a moment to breathe. And you're just noticing what you notice here. Now, 2 more breath cycles just here. Just breathing. You're doing great. Nice job. Next exhale, you'll bend your knees and lift your pelvis back for downward facing dog. And you'll just take a moment to pause there. And you just notice, how are the shoulders? Yeah. Laura, lift your pelvis a little bit more by bending your knees just a smidge. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, draw your left knee to your nose. Inhale here, and on your next exhalation, lower that left foot to the floor. Bring your hands to your blocks. And then you'll inhale and you'll gaze forward, and you'll exhale, straighten your front leg long. Now we've got a total of 4 of these. So inhaling, coming forward, lunge. Exhale, shifting the weight back with modified pyramid pose. Following your breath. You might start to peel the sole of the left foot up for these last few sets. Awesome sauce. The next time you shift your weight back and you have that left leg straight, we'll pause there. You might need to walk your blocks back so they're underneath your shoulders. You might peel the whole sole of your left foot up and away from the floor. And if you've done that, you might rotate the whole left leg towards the left. You're still pulling the toes up towards the kneecap if you've done that. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing how that feels. Nice work, guys. One more breath cycle here. On your next inhalation, you'll come back through center. You'll plant the palm, or rather the sole of the foot on the floor. Plant the palms and step yourself back to plank pose. We're going to pause here for a bit. Let's go ahead and lower our knees down. And I want you to walk both feet over towards your right. Extend your left leg back so your left foot is on the floor, and start to roll your chest towards the left as you reach your left arm alongside your ear for a modified side plank. And we're just going to pause here. Some of you will grab the back of your head and hold on to your skull. And then I want you to imagine that for some odd reason, you have your hand between your sternum and your chin. You want to make sure that you have that much space between your sternum and your chin, even as you lean back. There we go. And are you breathing? Are you breathing? Are you breathing? Fantastic. As you're ready, let's go ahead and extend that left arm long. Bring the left hand back to the floor. Bring both knees back to the floor. And then we'll take the other side. So you'll swivel your legs to the left, extend the right foot back along the floor in line with the left knee, and then rotate the rib cage towards the right. And again, we'll pause. You're pressing the right sole of the foot on the floor. You might grab the occipital bone in the back of your head, and then imagine for some odd reason you have your hand connected to your chin and your throat, so you have at least that much space so that you can keep the heart open as we lean back. So head pushes back a little bit more. Your hand's bigger than that. Lift here. And then do we feel this connection here? How's that feel in your neck? And then you'll pause and you'll breathe. And then you'll gently maybe extend that right arm alongside your ears. And then we'll lower the right arm next to the left. We'll draw both knees back down to the mat. You'll take a cat and a cow, and then you'll make your way back to your downward facing dog. Does that cue make sense with this? Okay. Cool. Let's pause then. And I want you to really touch your chin to your sternum. So whenever we do back bends, this is kind of the orientation that we want. So even when you're here in Cobra, it's your neck is there because it's that same thing. And then when you get to Cobra, it's that same thing. Yeah. All right. Good observation. Cool. Let's go ahead and start to make our way back to downward facing dog. And then we're going to start to add on. So let's see if we can even in down dog, see if you can feel that connection. Look at how that changed your, yeah, good job. That feeling of your thumb, or rather your hand touching your sternum and your neck. All right, let's go ahead and inhale, switch or sweep your right leg up and back. Yeah. As you exhale, bend the right knee, open and stack the right hip. Now, as you pause here, you're really trying to draw the right knee away from the left knee and find that stretch on the inner thigh as you root down through the left leg. Nice job, guys. On your next exhale, draw the right knee to the nose. Take an inhale here, puffing up the upper back, and then exhale, lower the right foot between the hands. At this point, you might bring your hands to your blocks once again. Fantastic. Spin the back foot completely to the floor and walk it a little bit to the left. From here, start to straighten your right leg long for a pyramid pose. Now, when you're in this pyramid pose, let's see if you can pull your outer right hip back. Maybe lift your blocks to the highest setting so you can find your spine parallel-ish to the floor, and then find that connection with your hand to your sternum and your chin. And you notice how that makes the head a little bit easier in the spine. Fantastic. Now from here, you're going to start to bend your front knee. Your fingers are going to become lighter on your blocks, and you're going to bring yourself up for warrior one. Fantastic. And then we're just going to pause, and we're going to breathe in our warrior one. And you can notice what you want to do with your arms. Do your arms want to be up and overhead? Do you want to bring them back to heart center? Do you want to cactus them? Do you want to connect with that connection between your chin and your sternum? But you just want 3 breath cycles here. You're really rooting down into the back pinky toe edge of your left foot as you continue to bend into your right knee, and you might feel a stretch coming across your left thigh. Fantastic. On your next in-breath, if the arms are anywhere other than up, reach them up and overhead. And then as you exhale, hands come back down to the floor, pivot to the ball of your back foot, and step yourself back to a downward facing dog. Take a moment to pause and take a moment to breathe there. Fantastic. And then we're going to try the other side. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. As you exhale, bend the knee, open and stack the hip, and just take a moment as a dog at a hydrant, really rooting down through the right foot as you reach the left knee up. Nice job. On your next exhale, draw the left knee to the nose. Pause here, inhale, puff up the upper back. Yep, and then exhale, plant that foot to the mat. From here, hands come to the blocks. Your right foot goes slightly off to the right, and then go ahead and start to straighten your front leg long. With the blocks underneath your shoulders, so walk them back if you need to, lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor, and then find that connection again between your chest and your chin. Yeah, nice job, guys. From here, you're going to start to bend into your front knee or left knee, lighten the fingertips on the blocks, and start to bring yourself up for warrior one. And so this is a whole new side. So you might decide you want your arms somewhere else. You might decide that you want them in the exact same place. You choose for you based upon what's feeling good to you. So you might have cactus arms, you might have your hands on your hips, you might have your arms up and overhead. You're paying attention to what's working for you. So this whole idea of flow is smooth is you have to know what is appropriate for you and then allow yourself to do that, trusting that it will give you the capacity to do whatever else you want to do a little bit later. Fantastic. On your next in-breath, if the arms are anywhere other than up, you'll inhale and reach the arms up. And then exhale, hands come down to the floor, pivot to the ball of your back foot. And this time you're going to step back to a plank pose. I know, Jenny, that was a psych out. I went forward and I told you to go back. Now from here, I want you to lift up through your low belly. And if we want to modify, we might lower our forearms down for this one instead. And then you're going to lift your hips and swivel your hips to the left. Oh, cool. And then you'll inhale and come back center and then go the other way. So we're just trying to find our transverse abdominals as we do this. We'll do this 4 more times. So people at home that can't see me, we're just doing a little twist and shout. We're breathing. We're doing about a total of 4 on each side. So after you've done your 8, you're like, bye, Jessica, I'm done. You're gonna lay down on your stomach. Fantastic. So now that we're all on our stomachs, let's go ahead and reach our arms out into a T shape. And when you are on your stomach with your hands on a T shape, press your pubic bone down into the mat. Inhale, start to reach your head up, your shoulders up, your arms up. Start to reach back for your toes, lift your legs up. Okay, now this time as we do this, you're gonna inhale. You're going to sweep your right arm forward and see if you can lift your left leg a little bit more. And then inhale, come back through center, and then do the other side. So you'll sweep your left arm forward and see if you can lift your right leg a little bit more. And then come back. And we've just got about 5 of those. So you're saying if you can really reach up. And I find that it helps if I really bring the opposite arm all the way back alongside my hips as I go. And it's just a little bit of a brain teaser as we do that. Awesome sauce. We got one more set. Okay, fantastic. The next time you lift, go ahead and reach both arms back, pubic bone down. Fantastic. And you got 3 breaths here. If you want to make it more challenging, your arms can come over your head, but you just pause and you breathe. So that means they would come forward, and you pause and you breathe for 3. You pause and you breathe for 2. You pause and you breathe for 1. Fantastic. Bring the hands alongside the lowest ribs. Sorry, psych out. Then plant down through the hands, lift yourselves up to your upward facing dog. And I want you to really press the tops of the feet into the floor, lift the pelvis up and away from the floor. And you might twist the pelvis here a little bit, like we did just a little while ago, and see if that feels good in your back. If it doesn't, do not do it. Awesome sauce. And then you'll go ahead, lower the knees to the mat, come back to your hands and knees and press yourself back to downward facing dog. Did that make sense? Do we have questions? Laura, you okay? You made a face. Okay. All right. I can't hear you, Laura. All right. So downward facing dog. And then you'll just pause and you'll breathe here. Fantastic. And then I want you to see if you can make your breath slow again. Can you slow it down? Yeah. Yeah. That's nice, Roberta. Does that feel okay? Okay. Okay. Now we're gonna move on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, draw your right knee to your nose. Inhale here, puff up the upper back just a little bit. And then on your next exhale, lower the foot to the floor. Now from here, let's go ahead and spin our left foot completely to the floor. Bring the block underneath the right hand to the inside edge of your right foot. Fantastic. And then notice if you need to wiggle walk one of your feet further forward or forward back. We're going to see how long of an extended side angle lunge you can take for today. And again, it's appropriate for you, so don't go crazy, balls to the walls. And then from there, you'll start to roll your chest towards the left, extending left arm alongside your ear, and you're pushing into your right foot. Your right knee bends and comes forward. Your left foot presses down, and then you're engaging the low belly to rotate the chest, to the left. And then here, we're going back to that imaginary thing. So see if you can find that connection between, your chest and your chin. Nice work. All right. Now, on our next exhale, listen very closely. You're going to turn your gaze back down to the floor. You're going to locate probably your other block as well. Now from here, you're going to shift your weight forward, shortening your stance just a bit, and then lift your left leg parallel-ish to the floor. Okay, now in this, notice if you're breathing, lift that left leg as high as parallel as possible, and then start to stack the left hip on top of the right. You might need to walk the right block slightly to the right. You'll start to push down into your right foot. You'll start to make your left hand lighter. You'll start to push down into your right hand. You might start to peel your left hand up towards the sky for half moon. Flex through that back foot, lifting through the inner thigh as best as you can. Nice work. On your next exhale, You'll start to lower your left hand to the floor. You'll start to bend your right knee, square your pelvis to the floor, step your left foot back, step your right foot back, make your way to a downward facing dog. Now you'll just pause and you'll breathe and you'll notice what you notice. And then see if you can slow down your breath. Often when we balance, we hold our breath and then it becomes very fast and erratic after the fact. Okay. And then as we're ready, we'll switch sides. So go ahead, inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. Exhale, draw the knee to the nose. Take an inhale to puff up the back, and then on your next exhale, plant the foot. Now from here, you're gonna grab your block underneath the left hand, spin the right foot down to the floor, and then see how long of a stance you can take. I know it's not fair that I tell you to take a long stance and then I tell you to shorten it after this, but it really does give you the capacity to find more length in your spine. Fantastic, guys. And then again, you're gonna press down onto the knife edge of your back foot. You're gonna draw that outer left hip straight back and continue to bend into your front left knee. And then you just notice what you notice. So where is that connection between chin and chest? And notice that that makes both sides of the neck longer. Fantastic. Awesome sauce. As we're ready, we're going to start to take our gaze to the floor. Locate that other block. Start to shorten your stance. So the back leg is going to come in. Hands might come to block. Shift your weight forward. Lift the right leg parallel-ish to the floor. Now from here, take a moment to pause. Really make sure that right leg is parallel to the floor. Then you might walk your left block a little bit more to the left. Stack your left, or rather right hip on top of the left. And then you might start to make the right fingertips lighter as you make the left foot heavier, the left hand more rounded as you reach up through the right hand. Nice work. And then you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're finding that connection between your chin and your chest. And if you fall out, that's okay. And then we'll gently start to lower the right hand back down. We'll square hips to the floor. You'll bend your front knee. You'll step your right foot back, plant the palms, and step yourself back, downward facing dog. Fantastic. 3 breaths. You're doing great. You were doing great. You were doing great. Fantastic. And you just breathe. Just breathe. Nice work. Okay. Let's go ahead and inhale, come forward into plank. Now, we're gonna go ahead and spin both heels to the right and then slowly lift your left arm up and away from the floor and suddenly you find yourself in Vashisthasana. Yeah. And then slowly you'll lower that hand back down to the floor, coming back through plank or forearm plank. And then you'll roll the heels to the left. And you'll slowly lift up. Nice job. Awesome. And then you'll slowly come back through center. If you want to go again, you go again. Otherwise, you're going to lay down on your stomach. And you just notice what this feels like. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. It took a while to get here, but now this is probably okay. Yeah. And then after this last set, those of you that went again, we're all going to meet on our abdomens. And I want you to do heads up, 7 up. So your hands, yep, are underneath your forehead. And I want you to just breathe into your abdomen right here. And what we're doing really is we're just going to give ourselves, the nervous system, the ability to digest. I think our society very often tricks us into thinking that we constantly have to be busy, constantly have to be fast and, speedy in everything that we do. But it becomes really hard to sustain that. Additionally, I don't think that's the way everyone works. So we're just giving ourselves a few breaths here before I make you do something else. And I want you to really breathe into your abdomen, really feel what that feels like. Notice what that feels like. And then the question I want to ask you is, where in your life do you feel like you need to slow down? Yet? What are the thoughts telling you that you can't? Finding that my new job, I'm constantly being pushed to go faster, but I've been telling myself that I really actually do need to just take my own time, because then it means I get things done a lot quicker once I finally get there, because there's less mistakes. There's less thinking that has to go into it. All right. Little momentary reprieve. Let's go ahead and bend your right knee, reach around and grab your right foot with one and or both of your hands. And this is just a quad stretch, so you do whatever feels good to you. Sometimes I find that if I internally and externally rotate the right thigh, it feels like I get different parts of my quadriceps, so that feels fun to me. Sometimes it feels like if I lift the right thigh away from the floor, that gets a different part. Sometimes if I lift my head, it gives me something different. You're just paying attention to what feels good to your right quadricep. And you got 2 more breath cycles here. And if you haven't tried lifting the right thigh away from the floor, give that a shot. It's a fun little sensation sometimes. We'll go ahead and release that. And we'll try the other leg. So you reach around and grab your left foot with one and or both hands. And you might stay neutral. You might internally, externally rotate that leg. You might lift the left thigh up and away from the floor. But you're just taking a few moments to pause and breathe there and notice what that feels like. You might even lift the head a little bit off the floor. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and release that. Open your arms out into a T shape. And then go ahead and look to your left hand. Step your left hand underneath your left armpit. Start to push down into your left hand and roll to your right. And some of you will keep that top leg straight and just reach it back towards the floor behind you. Some of you will bend that top knee, that's your left knee. And you might just stay there, pressing down into the right palm. And notice what the position is between your chin and your chest here. Okay. You got about 2 more breath cycles here, breathing into your right armpit pec region. Not even feeling in your back. Just notice what you notice. On your next in-breath, you're going to slither back onto your abdomen. Extend your left arm out to the left. Let yourself pause for a bit in the center. And then when you're ready, you'll look to the right hand. You'll step the right hand underneath the right armpit and start to roll to the left. And again, the right leg might be long and straight behind you. You might bend the right knee. You might lift your head up and away from the floor. You're going to pause and you're going to breathe and you're going to notice what you notice here. Fantastic. 1 more breath cycle here. And then when you're ready, you'll come back onto your abdomen. Fantastic. So now we've got the option of taking Dhanurasana or Locust. So you choose whichever one is going to work for you. But if you're going to take Dhanurasana, you'll bend both knees. You'll reach around and grab the outside edges of your ankles. If you're going to take Locust, hands will come alongside your hips. And then from here, you'll play with your pelvis. So sometimes it feels fun to lift the pubic bone up and away from the floor as you hug onto the legs, and then press the pubic bone down as you kick back. Sometimes it just feels good to just press the pubic bone back and reach the arms back if you're coming in for Locust, but you've got about 3 breath cycles here. And wherever you are, you're just noticing what feels good to you. Where do you need to smooth out the breath just a little bit, which may mean that you need to slow it down. Laura, you can kick up whenever you want or not. There you go. And then you'll gently lower down. You'll take a momentary reprieve on your abdomen and just notice how that feels. Fantastic. Release your ankles. There we go. And then extend your left arm alongside your ears. Roll over onto your left side and continue to roll over onto your backs. Make sure your blocks are still somewhere near your head at this point. Okay. And you're just going to take a pause here for just a breath cycle. Legs are still bent, feet are on the floor. You're just going to pause. Okay. I want you to really check in and notice how your back is feeling. If your back is at all feeling any wonkiness, I want you to put a block between your upper inner thighs. If your back feels okay, you can be okay without it. It's totally up to you. But you'll put a block between your inner upper thighs. Okay. And then you'll bring your hands alongside your hips, palms face up. When you're ready, I want you to push down to your feet. And just like when you were before, you'll lift your legs up. Lift your pelvis up. There we go. Push the feet down. And then once you're up, you might walk the shoulder blades together underneath you even more. You might grab the outer edges of the mat. You might robot your arms, or you might interlace the fingertips at the webbing. So we're in a little bridge pose. And you just, Laura, you stay there. If you're happy there, you stay there. And you pause and you breathe. And you've got about 3 breath cycles. And at the end of your 3rd exhalation, you'll gently lower your pelvis back down. You'll untuck the shoulders and unclasp the hands if they were clasped. And then you just pause and you'll breathe. You'll pause and you'll breathe. If you have another one of those in you, you'll do it again. You do have that second block, so you might just put the block underneath your sacrum and take a supported bridge. You might also decide you want to take legs up the wall, so you'll put the block underneath your pelvis and lift your legs up to the sky. But again, we're doing slow is steady, slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. And so you choose what works for you. We've got about 4 breath cycles here, doing whatever you happen to be doing. 4 breath cycles here, doing whatever you happen to be doing. Now, the most interesting part about all of this is I do think, a lot of things in society drive us to move faster. My mom watches this show all the time. It's like America's Got Talent, and she loves watching it when like the little kids come on. And these are like 7-year-olds that can sing like, I don't know. I can't think of a really good singer. So Roberta, that's rubbed off on me now. I can't think of musicians, but they're like these 7-year-olds that have these voices of women that are like in their 60s or something. They can sing opera and all these other things. My mom likes watching these little kids. And sometimes I wonder, that's a lot of pressure to put on these little kids to try to be not little kids. But the other thing about it is it's like, how much of that do we put on ourselves? Like some of those kids are actually talented and they'll just go on and do it because they enjoy doing it. And some of them are being pushed. And similar with us, some of it is stuff that we have adopted through our society or others. And some of it's stuff that we're pushing off on ourselves. And the question is like, how do we stay in contact with our own rhythm? So if you need to move slower, you move slower. If you're naturally faster, you go faster, but how can we release ourselves of the pressure to do one or the other? All right, those with your legs up, let's gently start to bring the legs down. Once your feet have touched the floor, take a moment to really engage the backs of the legs and the feet and the glutes before you lift your bum up and away from the block. And remove that block and lower your pelvis back down. When your pelvis does get to the floor, go ahead and separate your feet, outer hip distance apart, let your knees knock in. And then some of you will wrap your arms around yourself to give yourself a happy hug. And you'll just take 3 to 5 breath cycles here. 3 to 5 breath cycles here. Fantastic. And if you choose to stay here in constructive rest, by all means, stay here. You might just switch whichever arm is on top. And then you'll just take a couple more breaths here. Really slowing down into your natural rhythm. How does the belly fill? How does the breath feel? Right. You can choose to stay here for the remainder of the time or move on with the rest of us. It's your choice. Those that would like to follow along, we'll go ahead and inhale and open our arms out to the right and to the left. And then just as we did before, you'll take a big breath in, and then as you exhale, the legs will fall slowly to the right. And then just slowly inhale through center and slowly go to the left. And you'll do that about 3 or 4 times. You might find that you want to hang out in one of the little twisty variations. And so if you choose to do that, that's totally okay as well. But you're just moving with your breath, feeling how it feels to just give yourself time and space to move at the rate that feels appropriate for you. And if you did go to one side and just hung out there for a bit, make sure you visit both sides. Fantastic. And you've got about 2 more breath cycles here. So we'll slowly start to make our way back to center. Okay. And then once you get back to center, draw your knees into your chest, bring your hands through the holes of your legs, grab the outer edges of your feet, and press the soles of your feet together. And you're going to just stay here for what seems more awkward a time than usual. So you'll press the feet together. You might shimmy the hips away from the shoulders a bit. I want you to just notice what it feels like to let the inner thighs open, the pelvis open. As you press the soles of your feet towards each other and let the knees open wide. So you're in this weird version of Supta Baddha Konasana. And then if you're happy as a clam there, you'll stay there. Otherwise, you'll start to reach your feet towards the sky, the knees towards the floor for Happy Baby Ananda Balasana. But again, you want to keep your pelvis as rooted as it was just a few breaths ago. And then notice what happened to your breath. Can you still breathe deeply here? Nice work, guys. And then at the end of your next exhale, gently release that, hug the knees into the chest. If you want to rock a little bit right to left, by all means do that. And then when you feel ready, you'll find your way into your final resting pose. So if that's Supta Baddha Konasana, using those blocks to support the outer thighs, maybe that blanket on your pelvis, fantastic. If you're going to straight up traditional Shavasana, fantastic. If you were going to legs up the wall, fantastic. But you'll take your time to get to your shape, really setting yourselves up and whatever feels most supportive for you. And then we're going to try to, today we're going to end with an improv exercise. I really like this exercise called Feeling Yourself. I had one of my coworkers tell me this week, by the way, I was telling him about improv class and he's just like, that just sounds so out there. Like, that is not the strangest thing I've ever done in a movement class. And he just looked at me and I was like, okay. All right, so you're just gonna find yourself in your shape. And when you find yourself in your shape, you're gonna take 3 or 4 breaths. And then after you've taken your 3 or 4 breaths, you feel pretty settled. I want you to become aware of your feet. And I want you to feel your feet feeling the floor. Really feel your feet feeling the floor. And then feel the floor feeling your feet. And draw your awareness to your legs and feel your legs feeling your pants. Feel your legs feeling your pants. And then feel your pants feeling your legs. Bring your awareness to your waistband. And feel your waist or your abdomen feeling your waistband. And then feel the waistband feeling your waist. Draw your awareness to your torso. Feel your torso feeling your shirt. Feel your torso feeling the floor. And feeling the floor and your shirt feel your torso. Bring your awareness to your arms. Feel your arms feeling either the shirt or the floor beneath you. And then feel the floor or your shirt feeling your arms. Bring your awareness to your mouth. Feel your tongue in your mouth. And then feel your mouth feeling your tongue. Bring your awareness to your eyes. Feel the eyes, feeling the sockets of the eyes. And then feel the sockets of the eyes, feeling the eyeballs. Bring your awareness to your crown. Feel your scalp, feeling your hair. Feel your hair, feeling your scalp. Now bring your awareness to your brain. Feel your brain, feeling your skull. Now feel your skull, feeling your brain. And take a moment to go back through the whole body and see if you can feel your body, feeling the clothes and the support beneath you. And then feel that support feeling you. So go ahead and sit and breathe here for the next few moments on your own, feeling yourself, feeling space and feeling space, feeling you. And I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. If there's any part of you longing to linger here, by all means, please stay here. You are ready to move on. You allow small movement to re-enter into your physical form in whatever way feels good to you. Those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, you'll start to make your way to one of your sides and pause there for a few breaths. After you've taken a few breaths on your side, we'll roll your chest more towards the floor. We'll press into your top hand and gently walk your spine up to vertical. From there, I encourage you to take the opportunity to elevate your bum on a block or a blanket in whatever way feels good to you. And when you're vertical, maybe the eyes are soft or the gaze is closed, but notice what it feels like to stack your shoulders over your hips, your ears over your shoulders, and then imagining that hand is there still between your chin and your sternum. Go ahead and plant your left hand on your heart. Stack your right hand on top of the left. And you'll just take a few breaths here. I can't speak for any of you, but I have started to notice the older that I get, the more important it becomes to slow down, to really smooth things out, to ask my own questions and find my own answers. And I think that all of us in our own way are kind of doing the same thing. We're figuring out who we are and how we wish to be in the world. And sometimes to really know that, we do need to slow down so we can gain clarity as well as the skill set to do that. And so as you take these last 3 to 5 breaths here, I encourage you to take the biggest, most compassionate, gentle breath that you can. Because wherever you are on your journey, you are doing fantastic. You're going at the pace that is appropriate for you, doing the things that are important for you to do. And the rest of us are quite thankful for that. At the end of your breaths, you'll go ahead and bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Really press the palms into each other. Fantastic. And then whenever you're ready, we'll join in Anjali Mudra. From here, we'll take a big breath in and a big breath out. One more time, breathe in and out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to heart center. May our hearts be open. The light and the breath within me honor and salute the light and the breath within each of you. Namaste.